I'm Acurda Mechizedek, and my friend and I are going to have a very open conversation about ancestral karma and lineage. We have been diving very deep lately in ancestral karma and what it really means to be able to access that through DNA and clear our ancestral karma through DNA for not only what's happening for us in this present moment, but also for all those previous generations and all those future generations. And, we have the power to not only clear our own karma or clear our own frequencies, but we have the power to work through time and space and in all timelines and in all dimensions because we're that powerful. So we're just going to have an open conversation today about ancestral karma.
Cool. I'm just going to join you over here. All right. So I know you've been doing some cool work here. And so how do you go about doing ancestral clearing? Where do you start with that?
Well, I think, first, identifying what is really happening in your own life is important.
Okay.
Because we came in to this life with our past karma, but we chose our family and our lineage to represent and give us the lessons to clear in this life. So it's a multidimensional layer of what's happening. So our ancestors, some of our ancestors may have experienced a loss of power from a previous life. But then in our own previous life, we may have experienced a loss of power. And in this life, we're experiencing a loss of power. So we have this multidimensional setup through our ancestral lineage.
So we come in to families that carry similar soul work that we get to work on in this life, right?
Correct.
So we choose families with the kind of karma and the kind of work that we want to do. So when we get here, there's still free will and there's still free choice, and we can't clear for our ancestors, right?
We can't clear for our ancestors, but what we can offer is a new choice point for them.
Okay.
So, when they decide that they want to come back and reincarnate, they have an option to not go through this karma again.
Because you open the doorway, you clear the pattern.
Exactly. But if that same person, that same soul, has many lifetimes of this type of pattern, it becomes harder, and they tend to stick with the present program.
So how do we actually atone for the quote-unquote sins of our forefathers? Like when we talk about atonement, what is actually happening there?
So when we atone for our ancestors, one thing that I like to do is I like to bring my ancestors forward, and I ask those ancestors, what needs to be atoning? And I usually get answers, right? And so it's like they ask you to do certain things. It's like a forgiveness, like an offering, right? They may have harmed a group of people, and so they're offering something to another group of people.
Okay.
Right? It's a balance of frequency and energy.
Okay. And they're inviting you to make it physical in the real world. They're inviting you to do it on behalf of your lineage and some of your own karma that you're carrying, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when we are working at these first and second layers of DNA and clearing the ancestral karma, or creating opportunities and opening the possibility for our ancestors.
And our own human potential, and for future generations as well. Because when we clear these frequencies, we get to have generations be born who have a different frequency and don't have to choose this again, don't have to carry it again. It gets cleared from their energetic system.
So so that's what I love about this work, is that when you work with your DNA, you're actually giving yourself an opportunity to work with your highest potential for this life, correct?
Correct.
And so how does that exactly work? When you're actually in there reprogramming these strands of DNA, what's actually going on?
So again, if you think of your DNA as like this diamond, and your soul light is the light that's shining through the diamond.
Mm-hmm.
When it's clear, you get all these beautiful rainbow fractals everywhere. Like that's your cellular programming. It's clear. It goes right into your cells. You're very vibrant and alive. And then when there's this flaw, right? This moment, this choice point that somebody in your line and yourself made to believe something that was in direct contradiction to the truth and the divinity of who you are, there's a program that starts to happen, a split that starts to happen.
So like when they enslave someone.
Yes.
Or they steal, or any of those things, that starts to get programmed, whether it's victim or perpetrator, it shows up somewhere.
Exactly. And it usually shows up in the first first two strands of DNA, because that's really our strands that hold our genetics and our ancestral karma. So the first two strands, if you think about your mother and father coming together, right?
Okay.
And then the braiding starts to happen. And then our soul light starts to come in and change the light of your mother and father. So they all start blending together.
Okay.
And so you have an opportunity to take a look at that and to clear that and to move forward and to even create with that.
Okay.
And our human potential is really about creating through this aspect of DNA, our soul light through our DNA. And yeah.
Okay. And that's what this work is all about.
And that's what this work is all about.
Okay.
Tapping into your human potential. We are limitless at what we can do. But it does take clear intention, and it does take mastery of your systems, your energetic systems. If you look at people who are true manifestors, who really can manifest, they have very clear intentions. They're very clear inside their body. They don't have these these lower frequencies, or these shadow fractals, or
their energy's not being diverted.
Yeah,
and
it's
all
not being
different-
diverted. If you think of your soul light as a light down the center of your body, right? You're the purity of your soul light. And when we have all these moments in time where we've chosen something different than our divinity, it's like this line starts to splinter off, and we start leaking energy out all over the place. And we have the opportunity through our DNA to go back and collapse those choice points, those timelines, right? So that we can claim that energy, not only for ourselves, but if you think about, let's say you're a person that wants to have children, right? The clearer your energy is, the higher vibration your energy is, the higher vibration a child you get to bring in, a soul you get to bring in.
So this is really powerful work.
It is powerful work. It really is. Over the last few years of doing DNA work, I've studied a lot of healing modalities, and for me, they were these modalities that came and took like a layer off, or part of the film off, right? And then because the programs were in my DNA, it was like as soon as I started living life again, it was like the rub started happening and the film started again. And then I would go do something else, and then like the layer of film would come off, and I would feel good for a little while. But it truly wasn't until I got to the programming in my DNA that I really feel that things changed.
Yeah. Well, I know we just recorded a meditation for people to do some of this clearing themselves.
Yes, we did.
And this is the ancestral first and second strand.
Yes.
So that's what you can check out next if you're interested in doing some of this work for yourself.
Thank you.